Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into some source material that asks a really provocative question. What if our history books have got it all wrong? We're going to look at some incredible artifacts and maps that, according to the official timeline, simply shouldn't exist.
So let's jump right in with this thing. In 1912, workers at a power plant in Oklahoma were breaking up big chunks of coal. They cracked one open, and right in the middle of it, they found this iron pot. You could still see the perfect imprint of the pot in the coal that had formed around it.
And here's where it gets really weird. The coal from that mine is estimated to be 312 million years old. Now, that's hundreds of millions of years before humans were supposed to be around, let alone making things out of forged iron. It just doesn't add up.
An object like this really forces you to ask a question that's at the heart of what we're talking about today. What if our whole understanding of the past isn't just a little bit off, but completely wrong? We're going to explore this so-called forbidden evidence that suggests human history might be way different and much, much older than we're told.
You see, that iron pot is just the tip of the iceberg. The source material we're looking at argues that history is just littered with these out-of-place artifacts that seem to defy any kind of conventional explanation.
Take a look at this. It's a fossil, found in limestone, and it looks exactly like a human handprint. You can even see the detail of a thumbnail. The problem? The rock it's embedded in is from the Cretaceous period. We're talking 110 million years ago. That just completely contradicts the accepted timeline of human evolution. And it's not just fossils. In the 1990s, prospectors in Russia found thousands of these tiny, perfectly formed spiral objects. Some are so small you need a microscope to see them. When they were analyzed, they turned out to be made of industrial metals like tungsten and molybdenum, and their age? Possibly hundreds of thousands of years old. It looks like some form of nanotechnology that just shouldn't have been possible back then.
Now, with this skull, the mystery isn't the skull itself, it's the damage. See that perfectly round hole on the left side? Now, a lot of experts might say that's from a disease or maybe a predator's tooth, but the source we're examining says a German forensic expert looked at it and concluded that this kind of clean hole could only be made by a projectile moving at super high velocity, something like a bullet.
All right, so it's not just physical objects that are out of place. The source argues that you can also find impossible knowledge in ancient maps. We're talking maps that seem to chart lands long before they were officially discovered, or show them in ways that nobody at the time should have been able to see.
Okay, check this out. This map was drawn in 1531, and it shows Antarctica with incredible detail. The mystery? Well, first of all, Antarctica wasn't officially discovered for another 300 years. But even weirder, the map shows Antarctica's coastlines and even rivers, as if there were no ice on the continent.
And this is where it gets really wild. Modern science might actually be backing this up. Scientists have taken core samples from the Ross Sea in Antarctica, and they found sediments suggesting the area was in fact ice-free and flowing with rivers right around 4,000 years ago. It's a finding that lines up perfectly with this supposedly impossible ancient map.
And this isn't a one-off thing. The same pattern shows up with the Boucher map from 1737. It accurately mapped Antarctica as two separate landmasses hidden under the ice. We didn't actually confirm that was true until we did seismic surveys in 1958, more than 200 years later.
So this is the big question, right? How on earth could ancient mapmakers know the true shape of a continent buried under miles of ice? The author argues there's only one logical explanation. This knowledge must have come from the records of a forgotten, scientifically advanced civilization from our very distant past. So if all this evidence is out there, why isn't it in our history books? Why aren't we taught this in school? Well, the source suggests a simple but pretty powerful reason. This information is being actively suppressed by the mainstream academic world. The author uses that famous story, The Emperor's New Clothes, to describe modern academia. The argument is that the whole institution is so invested in its own theories that it would rather ignore any evidence that contradicts them than admit it might be totally wrong.
And to protect that status quo, the author alleges there's a pattern. If you're a researcher who brings forward evidence that doesn't fit the neat little narrative, you're hit with ridicule, you get attacked personally in the media, you're shut out of professional circles, and your findings are just ignored and swept under the rug until they're forgotten.
To back this up, the source points to real-world examples, like the case of Dr. Virginia Steen McIntyre. She was a geologist who dated some artifacts found in Mexico to be 250,000 years old. Way, way older than they should have been. According to the source, after she refused to retract her findings, she was let go from her university position and basically blacklisted, making it impossible to get her work published.
So all of this really builds to one final huge question. If this evidence is real, and if it's being suppressed, then what exactly is being hidden from us?
Take these massive underwater ruins off the coast of Japan. We're talking about incredible stonework, giant terraces, roads, columns. Some geologists have dated this site all the way back to 8000 BC. I mean, a discovery like that should rewrite history. And yet, the source points out that it's gotten almost no news coverage in the West.
The author argues that this goes way beyond just protecting egos or old textbooks. This alleged suppression raises a much bigger, more disturbing question. Is a deeper truth about where humanity really comes from, our ancient abilities and our forgotten past, being deliberately hidden from all of us?
And that's the core idea from the source material we explored today. It leaves us with one final, provocative thought to chew on. If the history we've been taught is just a story that ignores all the inconvenient truths, then what might the forbidden secrets of our past actually reveal about who we truly are?